What's going on, everyone? It's Coach Mac back with another video, and today we are going into an athlete podcast. Today, we're talking a little bit about life overseas with my boy Dan. I played college football with him in Canada. He was a DB receiver, hard-hitting, tough guy. It was really fun playing with him, so I want to bring him on to talk a little bit about his experience playing in Europe. So, Dan, give a little introduction about yourself and a little bit of a background of where you played.
Sure. I played football for about 10 years. A bit late, played in grade 10 in Brampton, Ontario. After high school, I played in Holland College where I met Hayden. And after that, played about 3 years there, played a bit of DB for most of my career. And my senior year, I played a bit of receiver. Um, After that, I took a bet on going to Alberta, playing a more competitive league, and played some DB, receiver, running back. And after a year there, I was able to play in Sweden, play
Mm,
mainly DB. Some accolades that came from that was 0 catches allowed during man coverage, along with 6 interceptions in 5 games with just under 400 yards as a returner as well, and a bit of receiver too. Um, After that, it was pretty crazy. I was in contact with a coach in Brazil before Sweden,
mm-hmm,
and they just so happened to still have a spot open for me after the Sweden season. So
mm-hmm.
he made that happen. Basically, went home for 2 weeks, flew right
Got off
back
a
out to
plane.
Brazil.
Yeah. Got back on another plane. Around the world we
Yeah,
go. Yep.
yeah. From Europe to South America, it was a crazy experience. I always say 2024 was kind of like a dream to me. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't feel real for a day or a moment that I was
Yeah.
over there, but it was really a great experience. After that, came back home to Ontario, got
Mm-hmm.
to play in the Arena Football League, the
Yep.
GTIFL. And after that, I was able to play in Germany. I was talking to the coach for a couple years since 2024. The plan was to come in 2026, but they needed some help in 2025.
Mm-hmm.
So he made it happen. And
So you're at
unfortunately,
now.
just before the first game I was eligible to play, I got injured,
Mm-hmm.
played through the injury, and now I'm still here,
Yeah.
looking into playing in my second year.
Yeah. So the big thing I wanted to bring you on is, I mean, you've got an interesting story and you've went all over the place. And the big thing I wanted to talk about is when we talk about playing overseas, and a lot of people don't realize that it's super hard to make it into a durable career. But, and I know guys who play 3 months at a team, 3 months on a team, 3 months on a team. The visa process is tough, but you've been able to actually have a sustainable career so far in Germany and be there as a coach and a player and now have a visa for a long-term situation. And, I just wanted to shed a little bit of light on your story because not a lot of people get that. And it's super awesome. And I think people need to understand that it is super hard to get that. And you're also in such a cool spot.
For sure. I would say like the majority of athletes that you see that play overseas, they don't get
Hmm.
the opportunity sometimes to even play for a second year.
Yeah.
Sometimes they don't. For a majority of athletes, I would say over 90% of them, they don't play for the same team
Hmm.
after their first year.
Yep.
And that is mainly based off of the structure of overseas and the structure of how leagues are over here.
Yeah.
Sometimes you even hear teams going as far as hiring people every 3 months throughout their season. It's a very, very, it's a business at the end of the day.
Hmm.
You always
I
have to make sure
mean,
you take care of yourself. I mean, like,
yep.
make sure you know what kind of visa you're on, make sure you know what their plans are going
Yeah.
forward. Um, yeah, just look out for yourself more than anything.
If you get hurt, they'll send you home, buy somebody else from another country. They'll get a European player who's ready to go right off the rip. They'll send you back on the plane. You're back home. It's so cutthroat. And another thing tying into it's tough to make a career. You got to bounce around. Is the structure is you can relate. Me playing in Finland, you've having a lot more experience playing internationally in your belt. Is the structure is anyone can start a club. You can just be your average Joe. I mean, some teams you don't know where your locker room's gonna be. The stands. It's just completely unorthodox would be the word I'd say when it comes to football and what we're used to. And the biggest thing is when you get there, it's kind of a culture shock and reality of the lack of structure compared to what you're used to.
For sure. I would say the biggest thing that I think athletes need to realize is football out and overseas isn't the number one sport in that continent. A
Yeah.
lot of the times, if you're playing in Europe, soccer, of course, is going to be the number one. So when it comes to investments and it comes to sponsorships, a lot of these clubs aren't getting, hundreds of thousands of dollars that, these soccer teams are getting. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
A
Mhm.
lot of these sponsorship deals and even funding from the city are just whatever they can scrape by.
Yeah.
So knowing that, there isn't that much resources that they can really give you in general. Obviously, that depends on the team, that depends on
Yeah.
the club, it depends on the area, what league you play in.
Mhm.
Um, I would say, of course, the more reputable leagues you play in, the more you would get paid, the more you get offered. Um, but at the same time, there are some teams in some of these higher up leagues that simply don't take care of their players.
Nope.
So it's always making sure, I would say my biggest advice when you're playing overseas is you talk to people that's been there before. Make sure you know who's
Yeah.
who's been there, have a conversation with them and ask them what their experience is.
That's my biggest
And
recommendation as well. Reach
for
out to
sure,
somebody who's played in that club with those club owners. Because if the ownership changes, you might not know. So reach out to anyone that knows them. But I mean, you going in blind is really tough. And I had that problem in Finland. It was going in blind. And, thankfully, I played through so many injuries. My hip was wrapped up when I first got there to the point where it was numb. My knee was internally bleeding every single game to the point I couldn't walk each week to game days. Dislocated pinky, messed up my thumb, tore my ankle, and I was in and out of the hospital. And it was not easy being guided through it. And their management was new as well, so they were also learning as well with the import, i.e., me and the other guys we had. So, yeah, make sure you got good medical insurance too. That's another thing, man. Like, you really got to cover your tracks. I tell people that all the time. If you're gonna go there, make sure you know what you got in that contract, and cover everything down to the T. Right?
100%. You don't always want to cut yourself short. That's the biggest thing. I mean, when it comes to anything, transportation, housing, what
Mm-hmm.
kind of housing you're getting, what type of
Yeah.
salary you're getting. The other biggest thing when it comes to salary is like, where are you living? Is it a place that is expensive? That ties into your salary. Like, how much of that salary are you actually keeping home? How much of that are you actually saving? How much are you using to spend on groceries? So now that ties
Mm-hmm.
into what is your food contract? I can tell you that my food contract differed from every single team that I played on. One
Yeah.
team did like a restaurant deal, one meal a day, um, except for Sunday. Another team did two meals a day, um, every single day. And then another team was one meal a day every single day, but that was more home cooked.
Yeah.
So, it really differs on where you play. Of course, like the place that I had two meals, I saved a lot of money because I
Mm-hmm.
barely had to pay for any groceries or anything outside of that. So I would say definitely, take advantage. We reach out to people who have experience,
Mm-hmm.
who have experience overseas, because it can get really shady when you don't know what's on your contract and what you should be getting and what you're missing. Because there's
Yeah.
certain things that you don't want to miss out, especially when it comes to visas, when it comes to flights, even what that situation is. You just have to make sure you take care of yourself in that.
Yeah. Everything down to the nitty gritty. Even like, the jerseys. Part of my contract was even that. I mean, my club was lucky enough, man. They gave me my helmet. Shout out to them. They blessed me. Hold on, I'll pull it up right now. Shout out. I got blessed. There's pros and cons, but at least they hooked me up. Let me bring this home. Little memorabilia. But yeah, big thing. I mean, I really wanted to highlight with you bringing you on here is like the reality of overseas. And I you've messaged so many clubs trying to get recruited, and it's been a constant battle. And I mean, you didn't necessarily go the traditional route. Like it wasn't like something where you just did college, and then boom, straight to a league off rip, combines or anything. It was like you nitty gritty Holland College, then you played semi professional in Alberta. That got you some reputable film. Then you had two highlight tapes, and you're sending film, sending film, sending film, sending film. nonstop, then you bet on yourself, go to Sweden, get the shot, go home, get another shot to Brazil, go back. All of a sudden now you're in Germany. I mean, it's quite a crazy story, and I think it should be talked about so guys understand what the life really looks like.
For sure. And it was never an easy path, and I wouldn't have it any other way. But the biggest thing is like, if you really believe in yourself and you really want to reach some certain goals, I mean,
Yeah.
as an athlete, as a young athlete, as myself playing soccer, my biggest dream was always to come to Europe and be able to play professionally here, be a professional soccer player. Later down the road, I ended up playing football, and I somehow still ended up here. And for me, it's like the biggest blessing I could ever, imagine. But
Hmm.
there was maybe like a month, you know what I mean, of me just reaching out to all these coaches, making sure that I reach out to every single coach possible that needs my position, and
Yeah.
just pretty much just betting on myself, you know what I
And I
mean?
mean,
And
you offer more than just one position though, too, right?
for
Receiver,
sure,
DB, quarterback,
quarterback, yeah,
quarterback. Yeah, same here, same thing. But I mean, being versatile, especially overseas. I mean, you're not playing. I know. I think another thing we can talk about is the fact that I mean, you're not just playing one spot half the time. I mean, like I
for
got
sure,
reps at running back, quarterback, strong safety, and as well as linebacker. And I would rotate from Will linebacker, Mike linebacker, Sam linebacker, depending on how many bodies, because our team was 35 guys, and half them wouldn't
right.
show up sometimes. So, I mean, it is not just like in college where you're fighting for one spot, that sole spot. It's like you're the import, you're the paid guy, play what we need you to play, and it's at the expense of your body in reality.
And sometimes like not every athletes are willing to do that. Like if you're not willing to go both ways, if you're not willing to even play a new position you never played before in a game, you have to be willing to just accept it, especially when you're going to these teams overseas. You
Yeah.
got to be willing to take anything. It's a big change. Like as you said, there's when you're in college, you have so many athletes just fighting for a position. When you go overseas, it's almost like you're their guy. So
Yeah.
no matter
You're
where
literally
their
it.
need is, wherever they need you the most or the team needs the most, you're probably going to play that position. That's
Hmm.
exactly why they brought you there. I mean, there's like different scenarios, even especially in Brazil. That was a good example. Like I almost never came off the field. I played kickoff, kick return, punt return, corner, running back, and it sometimes transitions to receiver. And at the same time, like when you're playing these games, you have to know how to reserve yourself. You know what I mean? Like you can't
Yes.
always go 100% every single play, or else you're
No,
going to
not if
die
you're
in the
playing
fourth
that
quarter.
much. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're gonna have to take the
Knowing.
ball out of bounds on a return. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sometimes
Well,
you
and
just
it
gotta
becomes a
have to,
business, right? It's
for
in the end,
sure,
it's a business. You got to make decisions, and when you play, the amount of snaps you play in one game there would be the amount you play maybe in 2, 3 seasons in North America in a
for
game
sure.
comparison, right? Like you play 50% of the snaps at home, you're playing 100% there. You're gonna injuries are just bound to happen unless you be smart about it, right?
Yeah,
That's a big
100%.
thing. It's just a different lifestyle, and this is a big thing I wanted to bring you on to talk about because I really don't think a lot of people understand that. And I think I didn't fully understand it myself till I went down there, and the expectation was, hey, you got to play here, you got to play there. I was
Hmm.
lucky enough, my team had another import, so I legally could not be on the field when he was on the field.
Right, right.
So we had times where, I'd go on offense and he would switch to D line for a drive. But primarily, like you said, I mean, I was on defense full time and almost every single special teams, if not all of them, except for field goal block or field goal. I think was the only one I was not because the O line was on it, right? And yeah, reserving yourself is so important. Conditioning, be in shape. You want to be
Yeah,
bigger, stronger, faster. When you're going overseas to Europe, the biggest thing you actually need is to be in shape. In shape. And you think
100%.
you're in shape until you play over 75% of the snaps and you realize you're not actually
You're
in
not.
shape. You
Yeah, man.
know?
I'll tell you, like my first couple games in Sweden, I was like, I'm coming off of like an Alberta season. I'm training with the CFL coach that is the coach at Cold Lake, and I'm feeling fit. First game, you give it third quarter, end of third quarter, cramps instantly.
Boom!
Down to the ground, bro. To the
Hit the
ground.
wall. You hit the wall, man. That's a
Man,
classic
I'm
thing.
just
Yeah.
texting my coach after the game. I'm like, man, like I don't know. I thought I did everything right. He's like, texting me, hey, did you hydrate 48 hours before? What did you eat? What did you drink? You know what I mean? I'm
Simple
telling him
sugars
all
at
these
halftime
things.
too. You know.
And, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
telling him all these things like, bro, that you have to prepare. You have to
Mm-hmm.
prepare, especially when you're overseas and you're that guy, you're the import, you're the guy that's getting paid. You have to be an example for all these guys too. As for the locals players, they got to see someone that, inspires them to want them to get to go to practice, that makes them believe in you and makes them believe in the system.
Yeah.
Sometimes you go on teams where they don't fully trust, you know what I mean? Trust in, your abilities. But if you show up every single day, you outwork these guys. Like a good example for here in Germany is like, I'm pretty much as equal as any other local player. I work full time. I go to practice, all the practices, workouts. I even have my own business on the side. Um, and doing that, you hear a lot from the guys and even coaches is like, no one has excuses as a team to not show up to practice, to not work
Yeah.
hard. And you can
Mm,
see how that culture and how, you know, just that mindset leaks onto other people. And it's
yeah.
really just a big culture thing around here that I found that really made me want to stay and really just made me want to
Yeah.
continue here.
I mean, I find that's not a common thing in Europe. Football is like most guys are, you're the professional, but a lot of guys are just playing for competitive fun. And, anyone can start a club in Europe to be a football organization. So, you got to lead by example and make sure they're still having fun with you as well. And it's so weird to be a professional with people who aren't professionals doing it together. And
That being a
it,
professional on a semi-professional team, it's weird. And
yeah,
sometimes at some
yeah.
points they think about it as an amateur sport, but there are some people that are getting paid. So it is
Yeah.
a bit of a big like mindset thing that you have to
Not
kind of
many
set yourself
people, yeah, not many people have this, in sports, right? You go play
right.
professional basketball, it's different. Normally they got everybody, and not just like one or two guys getting paid on a roster. Then with us, we might be the only guy getting paid on a roster. Like when I first came to Finland, I was the only guy getting paid at the time until
Hmm.
Jackson came a few weeks later, Hendricks came a few weeks later. But at first it was just me, so you really gotta, it's just so different. And I loved it in a lot of ways. It's just a lot different, and it took a minute for me to adjust in my mind, making sure I
Right.
balance, making sure they're enjoying it while I'm being a leader, while I'm still being a professional at the same time.
I think that's the biggest reason why I have so much appreciation in playing semi-professional, just having that same culture of everyone has to pay to play, everyone has their own full-time job, and we all still show up and put in work. Same kind of mindset when you come here, except like the big culture difference when it comes to the sport. Not that many people take football as serious or want to play football. And like the turnout is you don't have that many people
Mm,
at practices, you know what I mean? Um, Sometimes you don't always have that same mentality, that same grit as you have back home. But at the same time, is you got to realize it's a blessing to really be there, to have a whole team, including staff, to bring you all the way across the world just to play on
literally,
that team.
yeah.
It's something special. Like
Mm-hmm.
you got to understand, you're a very few select person, and compared to the rest of the world, to be
Yeah, hell,
selected
not even a
for
lot of
this
people in the
position.
world get to travel. I didn't realize how many people actually don't travel, and to be able to have the luxury to go there, play the sport you love while getting paid, and traveling Europe as well. I mean, when I was there, I got a chance to see a few more countries. So I think three other countries, and it's just a beautiful experience. Even if you want to do it one time or you want to travel to a few different teams, I mean, it's such a blessing. And no matter what negatives you think, I mean, you're blessed. You're still blessed no matter what. I mean, no, not a lot of people get the opportunity to say that they did that.
100%. And I know there are a lot of like really bad situations in regards to like housing and just contract situations.
Yeah,
But the biggest thing is like you look out for yourself. You do the you go the extra mile in regards to your research.
yeah,
You'll find yourself a good spot.
yeah,
As long as
100%.
it's meant to be. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. Everything matches. And stuff like that. So, I mean, to wrap this up, the last thing I was wondering if you could talk about is, or say is, if you were to talk to a younger athlete today or yourself at a younger age, man, what would you tell them? What advice would you give them?
Yeah, I would say like the two biggest things is for number one for me is school.
Mm-hmm.
As you
Yeah.
said, I never took the traditional route. I went to community college. Uh, I didn't end up finishing. I didn't transfer, and I just bet on myself. For me, I don't fully regret it. I mean, my life took off where it is, but I always think about, what if I finished? What if I transferred? Um, what my opportunities would be like from there. How would
Yeah.
my life be? It's just something that I think about. I don't hurt myself too much about it. It's just one of those things that I look back on like, it could have been, maybe I could have entered into a CFL combine draft. You know what I mean? Like maybe that could have happened. At the end of the day, it's never too late for me.
Mm-hmm.
But in saying that, take advantage of school, especially the resources that you have, and, finish
Yeah.
it. The second thing I would say is, just believe in yourself, bet on yourself, never think that you can't do it. Even if you have wild dreams, chase them.
Yeah.
I would say your dreams aren't good enough if they aren't crazy. So
Well
go out
said,
there
man.
and, go out there and chase it.
Mm-hmm.
There's been a lot of times in my life that I've had my back to the wall, just, really deep in the hole. Lo and behold, I just put the work in and, it all works out in the end. So
Yep.
those
Email
I would say
100
the two biggest things.
coaches, email 100 coaches and
Yeah,
redo
man.
all your high school credits so you can get into university. Yeah, that's what I did. I get what you're saying, school matters. And I mean, you got a crazy story, to be honest with you. And I think it's so awesome how you managed to navigate your life to where you're at, just betting on yourself and taking such an untraditional route is almost beautiful in a way when you think about it. Your
For
story
sure.
is crazy, and you know what? I don't think anybody else can have your story. So,
Yeah, man. That's the beauty
like,
of it all. That's the
one
beauty
of
of it
one,
all.
just one of one right there, the way you had it. So, I appreciate you coming on. And everyone watching this, make sure to like and subscribe. We're gonna be dropping more videos like this in the future, and yeah, stay tuned for the future. Thanks again, Dan, for coming on, talking about his experience. You want to drop your Instagram handles? He has a main, and he also runs a video editing company for social media edits, sports edits. So you want to drop that now?
For sure. So my personal is Daniel NKO. And if you want to follow some of my marketing, my media, football related as well, it's God Did Prod, all on Instagram.
I bet. Make sure to like and subscribe. Stay tuned for the next video. Peace out, guys.